Down the rabbit hole we tumble once again, to a place you remember, but have never truly been, where dim moonlight shines on an age long gone by, where stranger things are happening, and you very well may die. A wonderland unlike any you've ever seen before, captured by a darkness that will shake you to the core. Time is running out. The light is almost gone. Will you become a queen or perish as a pawn? Welcome to Building Wonderland, Nightmares and Dreamscapes. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Building Wonderland, Nightmares and Dreamscapes. I'm your host, co-founder, and head creative at Catastrophe Games, Kyle Shaw, aka the Design Merc, here to pull back the curtain and show you how we're creating this brand new TTRPG world coming to Kickstarter later this year. We're building the cover design for Module 5 of our 14 module campaign. We started yesterday. We're going to try to pick up where we left off today. Let's get into it. All right, this is the monstrosity that we created yesterday. After further review, wow, did we get this wrong? This is just not coming out the way I'm expecting it to, or what I'm actually looking for. So what we're going to do today is we are going to do something that's a little kind of rare, I guess. In this particular process. Usually I have an idea of exactly what I'm looking for when I'm building a design. And unfortunately, we're hitting some walls here with how exactly that looks and how that's going to play on the cover itself. For those of you that did not check out the last episode, we are building a mirror that is being built out of the forest, so it's going to be framed with branches and parts of tree and roots and leaves and things like that. But the real trick to this is that it needs to look like it's in process, like it's in the middle of being built. It can't just be sitting there like it's been there for 20 years. This has to have some action to it, which is very difficult to do with a static image. Plus the fact that we want to make sure that this image doesn't look similar to something we've already done with one of our previous covers. So we do have to make sure that it differentiates enough in style, at least, or style and POV, depending on how we decide to play with it, so that it doesn't look like a previous cover that we already have done. What we built yesterday was kind of an amalgamation of different pieces that we pulled out of Midjourney. Midjourney was not cooperating with us yesterday and giving us what we were looking for, so we decided to make something ourselves. As you saw, that was pretty horrendous. So we are going to play a little bit today. We are going to bomb around in Midjourney and GPT for a little bit, playing with some prompts, testing some things out, looking at some ideas, and seeing if anything hits. Now, it doesn't always work this way. A lot of times you have a concept going in, you know exactly what you're going for, so you can just grab the parts you need and kind of go to it. Sometimes, and this has happened a couple times with characters, I had an idea of what I was looking for, and not much else. And unfortunately, when that happens, you kind of have to give, used to be you'd have to give the stock images and the clip art a chance to kind of get your brain going and give you some ideas as you were looking through what was available in the topic you were looking at building something with. These days, and in our process, because we utilize Midjourney, GPT, and a couple other AI engines for some different art generation, some different pieces that we end up building. What I like to do in this case is to kind of play with some prompts, bomb around Midjourney, bomb around GPT, see what it gives me, see if anything hits my, hits the funny senses and takes us down a different path than what we were going down yesterday because yesterday was not making it happen. So we're going to try something different today, see what we can play with. So it should be a little more fun. What we have up here is some things we played with in Mid Journey so far. We'll go back to yesterday's nonsense and I'll give you a little specifics on what we were building and what we were doing. So we started out trying to build our mirror out of the forest. What I was looking for was something that would be framed in limbs and trees, roots, flora, fauna, things like that. We do want a little bit of color. We do have colorful flora and fauna in Wonderland. I guess I should explain. Excuse me. Sorry. I guess I should explain for anybody who has not seen this channel before this stream. What we are building is a TTRPG, so it's a tabletop role playing game that will be coming to Kickstarter later this year. Myself and my partner Philip are building a new and updated version of the Carroll Classic Wonderland. This Wonderland is not like any Wonderland you have seen before. We are not regurgitating anything from the previous novels, the movies, the books that have come out, anything of that nature. All of that is off limits. Carroll's canon is now part of Creative Commons, so we have the ability to base content and stories off of that. And what we have done is written an original storyline, excuse me, for Wonderland, Nightmares and Dreamscapes, which happens after, far after, the Carroll novels end. I myself have also written a prequel to Nightmares and Dreamscapes that bridges the gap between the Carroll novels and the beginning of Nightmares and Dreamscapes, called Tales of a Queen. The first 5 chapters of that are available on our Patreon, and the link is right there. Yeah, so Nightmares and Dreamscapes is a tabletop role-playing game, D&D. For those of you in the culture, it is based off of 5e. We have some wonderful new mechanics. My partner Philip is a master mechanic, and he's the one that has created all of the gameplay and campaign and our field guide, which is essentially our monster manual. I am the other half of this dynamic duo and am the creative who is making this wonderful Wonderland come to life. And that is what we are doing on this channel, is you are getting a behind the scenes look live of how we are producing the covers for the 14 modules for our TTRPG campaign. There are 14 covers to make. We have 4 already in the bag. We are on number 5 right now. And number 5, the whole goal, number 5, is a mirror being built out of the forest, constructing itself out of leaves, roots, trees, limbs, branches, flora, fauna, etc. And inside this mirror, what we will do ourselves, or I will do myself, is eventually put in where that mirror goes to. Will eventually create the entrance to the mirror realm. You will get to see that live. So right now we are looking for the frame or the base for our mirror. And this is some of yesterday's work. A lot of mirror pieces put into a Wonderland forest. Most of them are squared off and full mirrors. They are not wrapped in flora and fauna. They are not for future reference in this particular stream. We should probably just say wrapped in branches or wrapped in trees. A lot of these are not wrapped in trees. They are just mirrors sitting in a forest. So that kind of defeats the point. Then once we were able to get Mid-Journey through, editing, prompting, and changing some things, running some extra runs, we were able to get it to where it looks more like a cave or quite possibly some kind of strange Easter egg. or possibly a rock. Got a few of those too. So yeah, we got some rock looking things here. And what we ran into is what I was trying to get the engine to understand was what I was looking for was to have the bottom part of the mirror grow out of the roots of the ground right in front of it in the pathway, and then have the trees on either side kind of bend and bow down to where they create the top part of the mirror, and then those two things would connect or look like they were about to connect in creating the mirror. For the life of me, I could not get Midjourney or GPT, to be honest with you, to give me exactly what I was looking for. So got a little frustrated, went and built it myself. Did not turn out the way that it kind of had it in my head. So sometimes that happens. It's part of being a designer. Um, so let's go take a look at some of the things we passed up on yesterday and see what we like. See, something like this isn't too bad, but like I said earlier when we first started the stream, that it looks like it has already been built and it lives there, it exists there. It doesn't look like it's in the process of springing up in front of you, which is key to this. Um, so while it's not bad, uh, and also it kind of looks like a portal rather than a mirror. Um, Although I guess those two things will look fairly similar until I actually get to the point of putting the mirrored part over it. So that's fair. Anyway, we played with Midjourney a little bit, played with the style a little bit, got a lot of cave-looking dwellings, got a lot of, excuse me, it got a lot of portals that look like they've been there for decades. Um, nothing nothing that really stuck out. So then we started changing some of the prompting and trying to get it to understand that we were looking for something that was partially made, not completed. So it started doing magic tricks basically with this. This looks like some kind of David Copperfield, David Copperfield show. Um, this one's not too bad. I do like the style and quality of it, but if you notice up here, it just kind of stops with the branches and goes right into an actual mirror. Now, could we edit that manually? Sure. But this still looks like it lives here. Like it's not being built, it's already built. Um, so I kind of want to focus on that one part. And when we tried to do that, we started getting awnings that you might get married under. Um, this looks like some sort of tunnel. Yeah, it couldn't quite hone in on what we were looking for. I believe that one has curtains. So there's that. Um, just goes to show you that AI is wrong, like most of the time. Most of the time. So we do have some interesting things here, though. This is very Portal like. This is actually not bad. I do like kind of the way that it grows or whatever, but it just kind of fades out over here, and I don't really know what's going on. So you just kind of have a black egg in the middle of the forest. And again, we can work on any of these. We can grab one and go, this is going to be our base. We'll work on it from there. But I'm really looking for something that's like being built, which is hard to show. So not entirely sure how we want that to look now after going through what I consider was yesterday's debacle of trying to manifest what was in my head. Um, not entirely sure what direction to go, so we're just going to have a little fun and see what comes out of it. Pretty rare we get this opportunity, so I'm actually going to enjoy it. Now, one of the ones we were playing with yesterday was this thing, and it does look like something's being built. But I'm afraid if you don't have the top part here already covered, and some fading within this mirror, which again, we could build that, it doesn't look like a mirror. It looks like some kind of weird portal opening, or maybe just a big egg. Um, Something's going on. We're not entirely sure what it is. So not horrible, not a bad place to start. Again, we're going to cover the glass part here, or what would be the glass part, um, with an actual image that will be what you would see when you step into the mirror realm. It is not just a straight black image like this, but we're gonna have to build that separately just because it'll be a little too difficult for AI to pick all of that up. It's having a hard time doing this, so I'm not sure that's the best route. For now, we're gonna work on the mirror. So this isn't too bad. I'm not so much on the flying dirt. Um, but it also looks like you're walking down this path and this is kind of a doorway. Not entirely sure that's where I want to go. We might come back and pick that one up, but that's one of the options that I've looked at a few times. None of these are too bad. It might be the way to go just to say, you know what, it's already built. Maybe that's the route we end up going. I prefer trying to work on the idea of it being built in front of us, but that may be a little too difficult to show. We'll find out. So here's some more examples. Some of these are not too bad, but again, looking very much like portals. But I think we'll probably end up with something like that anyway. Trees not really getting in there. Then it started getting strange, and now we've got some kind of egg monolith. Started going off the rails, as you see here. And then we started really going off the rails because I went and took the creation that I built that you saw earlier that was not really what I was looking for either. Used that as a image prompt and tried it through Midjourney to see if it could pick it up and look at the nonsense it came out with. Don't get me wrong, this is not what we're looking for, but it's not far off from what I gave it as far as a sample, so that's pretty much on me. Um, what we see here are it going completely off the rails, turning this into some kind of huge trench instead of an opening. I don't know where it started getting that from. I tried to steer it back. It was just not having it, went a little off the rails here, and we decided to call it a day and see what we come up with later. Well, we're starting over again here, and we are playing with some different options. Now, these aren't really what I'm looking for either. But I think we're getting a little bit closer. Now, it may be as simple. What I've been trying to do with the branches is I've been trying to get them to uh, come from the trees on the side, and the trees are supposed to bow in just a little bit, like they're almost like they're bowing to you, or they're bowing to the mirror realm appearing, whatever they're bowing to. They're bowing to something. Um, the tree or trees on the right or left, whatever image has, should be leaning in, and the branches from those trees should be crossing and creating the mirror. That's what I'm trying to get to. Very tricky to do. Now, it only creates the top half of the mirror. Bottom half needs to be created out of the roots of the ground. Um, a lot of these end up looking like it has been created out of the roots of the ground, but the roots have done all of the work, and the trees are not getting in on the action, and that's not it's not the route I'm trying to go. Although, like I said, not the route I'm trying to go, might be the route we end up going anyway. Sometimes it's not about me, kids. Sometimes it's not. What do we got here? We got some wild stuff. That's rather interesting. Hmm. Granted, that looks like it kind of exists there. This is more of an opening. I don't know what that is. It's wild though. And so is whatever that is. Are we still on? Yeah, we're on variation. That's one quick update as well. We previously were on the TTRPG category on our stream. We decided to switch over to the art category for a while, as you know, this is kind of art. Uh, we've been seeing a fair amount of traffic in the TTRPG area, but I'm getting the feeling that even though we are designing a TTRPG and this is a behind the scenes look at that, getting the impression that most people in that particular category of stream are looking for actual live gameplay. So they're probably popping in, checking it out, and going, "This is not what I'm looking for," and bouncing. So we're gonna try the art world for a while. So hello, art people. How you doing? Right. Not super interested in any of these. Give it one more shot. And while that's going, we're going to pop over here to GPT. Now, GPT has come up with a relatively new engine. It's been out for a few months now, I think. GPT-2 images. Super big upgrade for them because their images before were garbage. Now, much better. Some style issues, but you know, what can you expect? That being said, sometimes when Midjourney's not giving me what I'm looking for, and it gets kind of stuck in a rut, I'll pop over to GPT and give it some different instructions, see what it comes up with. So, started playing with that a little bit earlier today off camera, and we started out here. Now, this is kind of what we were getting yesterday, where you know it's really a mirror. Um, it is growing out of the roots in the ground. Um, it does have some tree coming in from the top, but here's my issue. I like this, but what we are trying to stay away from and still get this correctly this is the cover to Module 1. We use this in a lot of our marketing. It is our one of our key pieces or key art pieces that we use. And as you can see, this is one of our heroines, Lorena. She is Alice's older sister. She is walking into Wonderland, obviously going through an archway of some sort, um, and into an area that is essentially the chessboard hills. Um, this looks quite a bit like this. Not exactly, but quite a bit. And we're trying to make sure that we don't look like we're duplicating a cover or we're doing the same thing over and over again because that is not the case. It's an entirely different thing. In the original cover here, she's actually walking into Wonderland through a forest. Uh, she's not walking into a magical portal. She's not walking into a mirror. This is just her walking down a pathway in Wonderland and entering into a new area of Wonderland. Um, Differentiates from the mirror image because the mirror image is actually a portal to a different realm with different rules, different things going on that would not be happening if you were not in that realm. So because of that, even though the silhouette is similar, the action and meaning and what is going on in that particular module that has that kind of build request is completely different. Um, Now, the idea I'm still running with is that even if we build the mirror um, like this, what we should do is we should show it on the cover at a 3/4 angle further in the distance. Um, do it a little more ominous POV because that is part of we're trying to get some suspense out of it as well. Our previous covers have all been very Hitchcock slash suspense inspired, even though we are using our Wonderland watercolor paint style to create these. Um, we are trying to make sure that we are leaving you wanting more when you see one of these covers, and not giving away too much about what is actually in the module because we cannot do that. It is a secret. So, um, kind of walking a few lines there. I don't mind the image, but I do feel like it looks incredibly similar to um, the cover we have for Module 1. Let's put it in here real quick and take a look in Photoshop what this looks like. I mean, I don't necessarily mind the, I guess, it growing out of the, only out of the ground, um, because then it almost looks like a mirror stand. You know anything about mirrors? I have a wife. I know quite a bit about mirrors. Um, she has several different types of mirrors throughout this house, and one of them is a standing mirror, so it actually has feet on it, um, rather than just the mirror itself leaning against the wall. Now, what I do like about this is it does have the possibility up here that these particular branches, right here and right here, could get in on the action here with this mirror. The problem with that is that that creates that same overhang style of the Module 1 cover. So we kind of want to get rid of that. So maybe what we do is we completely burn the idea of the trees bending in and creating the mirror. We blow that out of the water so these trees are no longer in the way. So this is now a clearing rather than a pathway with trees on either side. That way, if this is a clearing, all of this, all this area right here, all this stuff around the mirror, we can blow that out. So the focus is just the mirror and it growing out of the ground, and we can put hills on either side. We can, put whatever distant location we want to put behind it, as long as it's not a bunch of dense trees and whatever. We can do that then, but that way we won't get the overhang part that we're getting in this cover. So you see how this has this overhang here completely, and she's kind of walking into a hole in a wall. But we don't want it to look like you're walking through a hole in the forest. So in order to get around that, we can try to blow out all the rest of this stuff. So let's play with that a little bit and see where it goes. Why not? Right, let's check real quick here. All right, not too concerned about that. Now, focus of this cover is so you see the mirror realm. You see the mirror being built in front of you. Real question is, how do we show that? Showing something in action without, necessarily being human, so it has legs, or, animal, human, whatever, has legs, so you can actually see action. Almost every other image is static without some kind of living creature doing the action. Maybe a car, maybe a train, things like that. We know they move, so when you see a picture of them, you're assuming they're moving. Um, But in something like this, it's a really fine line of being able to tell, oh, that's real and that's actually moving. What we're going to do is we're going to put our old construction that we are not going to use going forward right here. Original mirror. We're going to dump that. Background. Okay. Now we are going to see if we can strip some of this out. First things that are going to have to go are these branches right here. And I know this is ridiculous because I was legitimately screaming yesterday trying to get branches to connect to this mirror from above it, and now it's the first thing I'm removing. I'm very aware of the irony there, but sometimes things change, and you got to roll with it. So we're gonna rip some of these branches out. We're gonna strip this thing down, and go from there. Now, what you're watching me do right now is I am circling some of these areas that we want to get rid of. Putting a little line around them, or box around them, or whatever shape that really is. And then we're using the Photoshop generative AI toolbar and generative AI tools in general to remove the object in that area. And what it will do for you these days is it will take a look at that area and it will replace it with what it believes is the next closest thing or the replacement that you want there. And it will base that off of the color, style, content of what is around what you cut out. Now that is obviously a relatively new thing with AI being relatively new in the last few years. However, that particular option is still something that you can do with more basic tools that have existed in Photoshop for quite some time. We have spot healing brushes, we have editing brushes, where I could just highlight the area and it will generate new content based on the pixels that are immediately around the area that has been highlighted. So really, a lot of the actions in AI, or I'm sorry, a lot of the actions that are in Photoshop are doing is really just running a series of Photoshop actions. There's actually something in Photoshop called actions, where you can set up, for all intents and purposes, a step-by-step set of instructions for how to build something. And once you get that done, you hit start on it, it will literally go build it for you because you've already created steps for it. Well, generative AI is essentially just the next step beyond creating actions in Photoshop. So it's really not such a wild thing for those of us that have been working in graphic design for quite some time for us to deal with, because it's kind of based off of the tools we've been using already, just doing some of the actions for us. So we don't have to take 3 hours to build something. We can take 15 minutes instead. So we're going to remove all of this top section here. Do I want to keep the trees on the side? I don't know. I don't know. That's a good question. I'm assuming it's going to keep some of them. Yeah, see, there you go. What do we do with that? Do we want to strip it out completely? I think we kind of do. Let's go ahead and get rid of these. Right there. That one. And again, this mirror isn't exactly what I'm looking for, but it'll get us started. That is the whole point. What is going on there? It is getting rid of the tree. And sometimes you have to take this in steps, as far as we're erasing the stuff that we don't want from the image that we have currently. Okay. Well, how do you get it to the image that you want? Well, sometimes you have to erase multiple times. So I'm removing mainly the base and stumps of trees that are on either side of this mirror. Um, what it puts in its place right now, all I care is that it's not mirror and not tree. So yeah, whatever that dark stuff is fine. Now, do I like it? No. We're gonna rip that out next. But we need it to get from point A to point B, so we can get it from point B to point C, because that's where we're actually trying to go. That's kind of the way some of this works. All right, so now because we've done that, and that's now still relatively connected with the ground, but you've got whatever this ominous, weird, like cave wall going on. What we do is we take all this area that we've been working on so far, and we go around the whole thing. Try to leave some of the plants. We'll get that separately. We'll do all of this, all of that, and all of oops. All right. So we've gone around our entire top section here, and I'm going to have it completely remove that section. Now that's huge, so it's not going to be very accurate. We may not get back what we're looking for. Who knows? We'll see. A lot of times when you're throwing in commands to generative AI and you're getting responses from it, you're basically shooting craps. It's like Vegas. All right, this isn't too bad, but now it looks like it's like on the side of a mountain. Um, so question is, what do we want to add there? Because we're gonna have to add that ourselves more than likely. Um, and do we like the mirror? For right now, the mirror's not too bad. Uh, it might be better for now. Merge those two layers together. And we're going to get rid of some of the little things here, some artifacts we can get rid of. For those of you unfamiliar with working with Photoshop or InDesign in general, we have a term for leftover pieces of rubbish that don't fit into the narrative you're trying to create in your image, and those are known as artifacts. AI likes to leave them everywhere. Some samples of that would be, or examples of that would be, the sixth finger on the hand in your image, or the fact that, oh, that guy's got three legs. That's a really horrible artifact. The majority of them are simply just little errors and little pieces of things and whatever that are floating in different places, or they are disrupting the full image, just by being, excess garbage. Um, and I mean, that happens outside of AI as well. We deal with that with design in general. So, again, not too far out of our particular realm of work. All right. Clean up some of these lines here. This. See, I'm spot healing this rather than doing anything with AI, because in this particular case, that's easier. And we have our mirror. Just to make sure we're not going completely down the wrong path here, throw up our Wonderland logo, because that is where it's placed on our covers. Everything in a cover is truly about formatting, just to make sure you get all of the content that you want on there. So you kind of have to format as you go. You can't just design something and slap it on there and go, oh yeah, this should work right. You gotta check along the way. Because as of right now, I can't see this logo. and that's a problem. Also means I'd have to move this down, and I'm not entirely sure I like that either. So, let's say, hmm, like it right there, or is that too low? Yeah, see, it really should be kind of up here where this is. Like we said, we don't necessarily want this to be a direct on face to camera picture of this mirror. So maybe the next move is to see what it looks like when we put it in a 3/4 view. Let's go ahead and do. All right, let's see if GPT can understand what I'm looking for here. So before we get too crazy, what I want to do is I want to see what this mirror would look like if we took it into our POV that we're looking for the actual cover, where it's actually at a 3/4 angle. So you're still going to see the face of the mirror. It's not going to be direct at you. It'll be more like this. Yeah, it'll be more like that. So you'll still see the face of it and the branches around it, but it will not be direct, flat in your face. And I want to do that to try to get rid of the silhouette of um, the module one cover. We don't want to keep that as separate as possible. So far, it's not too bad. Like I'm not when I see these two next to each other, I'm not as that's the same thing. It does look different enough to where I'm not as concerned. Although we do need to remove all of this tree stuff. So we're gonna do is we are going to take this higher area here, just like we did before, only this time it'll be a little bit deeper in. We're going to take all of this. Replace background with forest. Dark forest. Good question. Replace background with dark forest. Overhanging trees. Overhanging trees. With the same style and composition. Try that. This is going to be a complete roll the dice on this one because a lot of times you don't want generative AI inside Photoshop building something that big and expansive when it's in a different style outside of usually your regular cinematic stuff. It doesn't do the best job at it, but we'll give it a shot. Kind of what I was saying. Um, it did get the gist that I wanted trees, but none of this looks like it's part of this particular era or style for that matter. Give it one more generation shot. One more. It's going to have to be something that we replace ourselves. That is no. That is also no. And that is really no. Okay. So we can't have it do that. But if we're using this mirror, let's stop for a second and see what GPT came up with. All right, so this is the mirror at kind of a 3/4 thing. Not exactly what I was looking for either. Hmm. It's going to be hilarious if we end up with a cover where it's just dead on like that. That may be what we have to go with. We'll see. And again, I could sit and build it exactly the way that I want to build it, the way I have it in my head. However, we did a bit of that yesterday, and what came out of that was not what I was thinking. Not to say it wasn't, processed properly and cut and chopped and built the way that it should have been built. Just the concept of it just didn't visualize the way that I was looking for it to. So, and that happens when you're creating things. Sometimes you go down the complete wrong path and you have to do an about face and go, well, we're not doing that today. So, this mirror isn't too bad. I don't think we got anything. Yeah, see, none of these really do it for me either. That I could do. Do try you. Thankfully, Midjourney has nifty little tools where if there are or there is a particular design that you happen to like, but it's not quite what you want to see, you can ask for a variation run, where the variations are subtle. You can ask for a variation run where the variations are very obvious. They're not subtle at all. And then you can also take the image that you're already looking at and have it zoom out so you're getting more of what's around it. Um, do all those runs at the same time and kind of see what you get out of it and see if there's anything that you like. Like this is a little more what I was thinking. It kind of looks like it's growing, although I don't like the fact that the window or the mirror is still the mirror. But at this stage, I'm not exactly against it either. It's definitely something to look at. Hmm, possible, very possible. That's not too bad. Um, yeah, unfortunately with this one, it looks like these two pieces have been there for quite some time. It doesn't look like a new build, and that's kind of part of its story, shall we say. We need to have that kind of new build feel to it. Um, yeah, that's not too bad, to be honest with you. But one more with that as the sample. See what happens. We might just go in that direction. Right. Yeah, I'm not totally convinced about that. Not totally convinced. Yeah, I think what we end up running into is any time with this particular set of prompts that we take something closer to the what we're actually looking for, like the mirror or the it being built. Um, it immediately starts um, it immediately starts iterating from that rather than iterating along with it, like keeping like what I'm expecting it to do is to take it and keep that style and kind of make some changes, and what it's actually doing is taking it and then iterating it into different things that I'm not asking for. um so I'm gonna drop the style down a little bit. Try it again. What we got here doesn't really look like GPT was pulling it out either. I had a couple of decent ones, like this isn't too bad, but it's just not. It's not understanding what I'm looking for. This is bigger and wider, which is what I asked for, and the trees are bowing, but it's just not connecting. I don't know why. Hmm. Yeah, those all look very early stage and not really growing from anything, to be honest. This isn't too bad. It has some branches up here, but like it doesn't look like it's holding that. It just looks like an egg that's kind of floating out there. Now we're getting wild. What is going on here? Yeah, now we're starting to get a little crazy with it. All right, not the way to go. We go back here and we go, do kind of like this one. We're going to do a subtle run, a strong run, and a zoom out 1.5 and see what pops up. While that's running, we're going to take a little break. Give us like 10 minutes, and we'll be right back. All right, and we are back with some Building Wonderland nightmares and dreamscapes. I think what we are going to do with this particular module cover is we are going to take a little bit of a pivot. During the break, played around a little bit with, this particular image, trying to get some different builds, some different options for what we could make it look like as it was being built right in front of us. I'm essentially getting variations of the same thing. The egg is always going to be there. The tree limbs are going to be a variety of whatever that is. And it just gets crazier from there. So I think the best route for us to go is to do a little compromise. Um, hmm, that's unfair because I do kind of like that now that I see it. Hmm. Now, the one I'm really looking for is this one right here. This is what we've been basing everything else off of. So we are going to grab this one and work with it. However much I particularly like this one, I don't think it's what we're going for. So, updated mirror. Here we go. Down a little bit. Bring it a little bit larger, which doesn't hurt my feet either. Where are my guides? There are my guides. We try to get the mirror centered a bit ish. Go like there. Where's our Wonderland logo? It's up there. So we want to bring our mirror down here, basically. Move this up a smidge. I have to shrink it a little bit. Not planning on doing that. But we can. Just trying to place this where it needs to go. The guide. It looks like it's going to be right about there, although I really don't like that it's that small. I want that baby huge. Not like that. Maybe we just encapsulate it in Wonderland logo. How about that? Just put it in there and we'll fade the top part so it's darker. Yeah, but you're going to cover up quite a bit of the mirror doing it. As long as you fade the top part of it, you could probably top the mirror off wherever you want. So let's do this then. Go back to what we were doing before. Had it right the first time. Right about Shaw. We're gonna go with that for right now. All right. Now we've got additions to make. First is going to be top the forest here. Extend image with similar style and composition. Have it build the rest of the page. Most of that is going to be kind of darkened. You're not going to see it, so it's not going to matter. We will get rid of whatever the floating debris is here. I'm not sure what that is. Yeah, that's good enough. And now take care of this little sliver over here. Extend image. Bam. Right. That one more time. Might have my mouse in the right spot. Right. This is growing on me, literally and figuratively. It's growing on me. So I'm actually not minding that it's the shape that it is right now because what I can do to it is when I go to overlay what you're actually entering into, the mirror realm you're entering into. Um, when I go to do that, there's going to be quite a bit of shading and fading over here on the left side, and then down here in the bottom right corner, which gives me a lot of cover for creating the actual image. The image will just be overlaid in there, so it'll be kind of dirty, shimmery. You won't be able to fully see what I mean. You will be able to see what it is, but it's still going to be, through a mirror. Um, so there's that. Let's get some of the artifacts and nonsense out of the way before we do anything else. Like whatever this ghost thing is over here. That. Let's also remove the floating paraphernalia here. Whatever that is. Not anything else that's crazy obvious. Whatever that thing is, go. Get rid of this because that's just yeah, I think the rest is it. Let's remove all this stuff. Great if you can do it all in one run. I like to, if especially if there's obvious things, and I'm just like that. It's kind of like doing when you do an artifact run on an image, you can kind of just do like you know how you'd those puzzles where they're like finding an object or whatever. You're just doing a reverse find the object. You're looking at all the stuff you want to get rid of, so you just hold the control button down and just draw around all the crap on the screen and wipe it all out at one time. And usually, first option the generative AI gives you is usually the best. Um, some options may vary. Okay. It's really, I just don't know. Let's find out. I don't know if it's a cover. I just don't. I'm looking at it and I'm not entirely sure that it meets the grade. So we're going to do a little tester here. Hi. Oh, I guess it's right there. Okay, so we can't see. Yeah, that's the right spot. Okay, no worries. Smart me did it right. Back out a little bit, and now we can fade. That's better. Dark here, a little bit more at the bottom. Now see, that's what we were going for because we've kind of blended out all the corners, but if you keep the light right here, you're getting just a little bit of the color in the flora and the fauna. And then what we put in here will be legit the focal point of the actual cover. Plus, you can see all the data information you need to see. And now, let's make sure. Does it match our cover? I think we're going to be okay. I've got some guys doing the lawn right now. They're going to make a mess out there and a lot of noise. So we're going to take another break until they're done. And we will come back match these covers up, and go from there. Wonderland, Nightmares and Dreamscapes coming back in, say 10 to 15. And we're back. How's everybody doing? Sorry about the break there. Had a little bit of a landscaping issue. All right. Back to Wonderland, Nightmares and Dreamscapes, our Module 5 cover. We were in pretty decent shape here with, I think, this particular mirror. I might do some flourishing here with some of the flora and fauna in wrapping around our mirror. However, what I'm interested in now is building this scene. So what you're going to see in the mirror realm is essentially a gravitationally fluid image. That being said, what we're looking for is the flooring of the checkerboard being up in the ceiling. We're looking to put an upside down fireplace where the fire is actually aiming downwards, and some floating furniture. If we can make that happen with quite possibly some more mirrors on the inside, then I think we can overlay that image on top of this mirror, fade it in, and I think we are very close to having our module cover. So, what we are about to do is first save our module cover. We're really bad about doing that, so we want to make sure we do. All right. We are going to pop into GPT and say, hello, assistant. Here is the description of the next scene. Please utilize, would help like to spell, utilize this description to create a mid-journey ready image prompt for this scene. And there we go. We'll let it chew. See what we got here. Bizarre Obsidian Grand Parlor. Yes, okay, that works. Cherry tiles. It was an elegant chaotic masterpiece. Grand fireplace. All right, we're gonna give that a try. That doesn't sound too bad. We're going to put our style reference in there. Are going to make sure that painted in the expressive and okay. And still on 4.5, still on stylized, and boom. Gonna run at it. We're gonna do a couple of them like usual and see what we get here. And what we're looking to do is we're looking to get something we can fit into that oval mirror shape and just kind of overlay it on there. Now, I'm assuming that I'm probably going to have to build part of this room. It's not going to do it on its own. What we may end up having to do is have it build the room right side up, and then we flip it. That's entirely possible as well. All right, not horrible so far. see what we got. So that's a crazy room. Interesting. Not really what I was looking for, but we are probably going to see some rather crazy, surreal stuff right here. Fireplace, furniture. There's a guy in my picture. Interesting. Oh, there's a lot going on there. All right. I believe that is just one shoe that is in the center of my image. Not entirely sure how it got there. This is very cool with the floor disappearing. It does seem like it's having a very difficult time with the upside down parlor. So how about we go back in here and we tell GPT it doesn't have to be upside down. Okay, assistant. Let's try this prompt again without having it run upside down. It appears that Midjourney is focusing too much on trying to make that work and failing completely. So we will go with a right side up version, and I'll flip myself in Photoshop. I like to tell GPT what I'm planning on doing so it understands that there is a plan outside of its own thoughts. A lot of times it does not. Like right now, oh, thought I was going to create an image. It looked like it was about to create an image, did it not? All right. So I tell it that so it knows, okay, you're not getting rid of the upside down part just because Midjourney can't do it. You're getting rid of it and you're going to do it. If I didn't give it that, it's going to go, well, then I may have a hard time changing that prompt because you're ruining the surreal part of it all. It does that. So let's try it one more time. I like how it actually said right side up this time. You don't have to tell it that if it really is just already right side up. Painted in the expressive and detail. And boom, boom. We'll give that a couple of shots. See, I see furniture, but it's on the floor. That's not part of the description, is it? With our fantasy grandfather, interior right side up, elegant yet deeply unnatural, black and white checkered tile floor, stretches across the room, space of chaotic masterpiece. Grandfather place on side of one wall, actually downward, chairs and couches here. Okay. Here's what I would like you to do with this prompt. Forget the surreal nature of it or any of the furniture. Gravitational. Dishes. Just give me the basic room with the fireplace. Give me the basic room with the fireplace. ceiling, mirrors on the walls. No furniture. No floating objects, just the room as it would normally look. All right, yeah, as I kind of assumed. Mid-Journey GPT not gonna be able to see. Look, it looks like it's making an image right now, but it won't. It'll pop out in a yeah, weird. Anyway, um, too much information for Midjourney and GPT to actually process all that at one time. So guess what? We are going to have to build the room ourselves, or at least the content of the room. The good thing is we don't have to, for all intents and purposes, build the room. The room itself, we're going to have GPT and Midjourney build it, but we will have to put in the parts because it cannot get them right. Go paste. Painted in the okay. Bang, bang. There we go. Let's take a look at these just for giggles and shits. This is interesting. Okay. Your fireplace is on fire. In case anyone is not looking at that, that is a fireplace that is on fire. Haven't seen that one before. And there are also clouds in the living room, so that's helpful. This is looking very Harry Potter with the mirrors all the way up to the ceiling. I don't understand having mirrors that far up. What are you seeing? Other mirrors? What's the whatever? All right, so then we have this, which is more of an angled room. Always found those very creepy. Like it feels like the room's like condensing. Yeah, it's wild. Very old school though, not too bad. Then there's this with a few floating things and some sort of indoor balcony, apparently. Not too bad, not too bad. What else do we got here? We've got, oh, that's nice. That chair is on a podium back here. No idea why. Here we go. We have floating mirrors. We have some chairs on the ground, and that one doesn't even have legs. Okay, there's another chair sitting on a mirror this time. Interesting. Not the worst, not the best. Really like that fireplace. That is a crazy fireplace. What's going on with some of these mirrors, but okay. Here is what we're really going for. So I just asked GPT, forget all the surreal shit, forget all the upside down stuff, forget all the whatever, all the nonsensical garbage. Get rid of that. Just give me the parlor. Just give me the room, and I'll do the rest. So let's see what kind of rooms we got here. Not too bad. A big fireplace though, like a big fireplace, big fire. And now I'm gonna have to look at everything upside down, which is gonna hurt my neck, I'm sure. That's not too bad, except those aren't mirrors. Those are paintings. Those are mirrors. But I can't tell if that's a door. It's a wild kind of room. Is room like circular or something? Look at the direct stats on this. Grand fireplace that's sideways into one of the vertical walls. Its flames bring downwards towards the ceiling. Yeah, okay. I guess they don't have to be floor to ceiling. Whatever. Okay. So, we are going to try it a couple more times here. Let's do uh, 20 or more. Merchant of people inflict objects. Large ornate with a roaring fire. I love how I put the fireplace in there and then forgot to put the fire. There's no fire. All right. We're going to try a couple of those and see how they work. See, that's already looking better. Already looking better. What's up with the balconies? You go to a lot of houses that have balconies on the inside. I don't see that a lot. This is interesting. Interesting and kind of nondescript at the same time. Okay. What did I say about no furniture? No furniture. Doesn't understand how to do no furniture. Nope, because there's chairs all over this place. I like that fireplace, though. That's kind of nice. Not so much skylight, but you know, that's just kind of odd. I would just run that straight up. Yeah, that's not a bad room. That might work. We'll get rid of this, the bench, the chair, the chair. Get rid of this hole up top, make that the ceiling, have this go into it. And then you have, we flip it, floating paraphernalia. No. I think that should be. Okay, yeah, so great. So we should be able, I mean, that's not bad. We could use that one. Where are the mirrors? I see lots of windows. No mirrors. All right. Fireplace. Okay. I seem like a grand parlor though. Really interested in what's going on here with all these balconies. That's just insane. Doorways, got some windows, got some mirrors. Okay, that's not bad. I'm still kind of leaning toward where the hell was it? This one. No, not this one. This one. Just kind of wondering. I think that'll work. Yeah, I think that'll work. Let's get the opinion of the gameplay mastermind and see what he thinks. This look kind of like right side up. Let's see what he says. My guess is going to be that he's going to like that. So there you go. We are 2 hours in, and we are building Wonderland, Nightmares, and Dreamscapes. We are building a inset mirror of the mirror realm, which should be a parlor, and that parlor is going to include some floating furniture, um, some disturbing things in the mirrors, which we don't really have to worry about right now, and it will be upside down. And we're going to layer it top of this lovely little mirror right here in this forest. So, can we get that done in the next hour? We shall see. Let's see what the partner says. He says nothing at this point in time because he has not seen my text. Well, there's that. So here's what we're going to do. We are going to test it out just to see. So we're going to move that one down. This is our mirror layer. Let's go ahead and call it what it is. Now we are going to look at working on what's in the mirror. Now I'm going to go full size on this because we can always reduce it down later and put it in the mirror. What you cannot do is build something small and then expand it and expect it to look exactly the same. It's going to get blurry, it's going to get messy. However, with the wonderful invention of generative AI, what you can do now that you could not do before is you can expand a lot of images, most images actually, to twice or four times the size that they are at. It will automatically run a set of commands that not only increase the size and manage the pixel extension that has to happen when you do that, which doesn't happen as well in Photoshop when you do it. But it also has built-in sharpening and cleaning options that are automatically part of that enlarging process that make it so your image stays less blurry, because that's a massive problem for decades working in Photoshop. Anytime you wanted to make something that was print ready, you had to make sure that you built it in 300 DPI, 8.5 by 11, A4, whatever your size is that you're designing something. It would have to be in 300 DPI, because if you did anything less and you went to go to print, they would have to up it. It would blow up the image, and the image would end up getting blurry, and your print would look like garbage. So AI's helped with that a little bit, but it's still, it's still a thing. Anyway, here is our temporary, parlor image. I mean, if we're going to use it, I'd like it to at least be kind of centered here a bit, sort of. Whatever. Let's use what we got first. Let's get rid of the Chaz. Remove this right here. Oh, be careful. Gotta remove this right here. As well as, well, what are we doing? Shift. There we go. Wrong button. All right, as well as this one right here. That, and this little chair here. That too. And whatever nonsense is going on over here. We're going to remove all those objects at one time. And boom. All the chairs are gone, and the parlor stays, All right, so we're gonna get rid of this hole in the ceiling. I'm not entirely sure why that's there at all. Okay, I guess that's all right. No, not entirely sure why this has this doodad here, but we're gonna get rid of it. Actually, here's cut that off. Remove that bad boy. Right. Good. Quite a lot of mirrors in that room. Still no response. Okay. Nope. I don't really know if that's better, that's for sure. What is going on here? I mean, that's interesting. You totally mess up your ceiling. Looks like we got some mirror problems as well. This goes back to our conversation earlier about having to run through and do a pass on artifacts because AI makes lots and lots of mistakes. See, just cut it off straight. What are you doing? I'm gonna be very disappointed if I have to do this myself. It's gonna be very disappointing. Actually shift this over a little bit. It's oh, there we go. See, that's kind of what I was looking for. Just something like that, but without whatever that is in the ceiling. Rid of this whole area. Let that's fine. You're also going to get rid of, I don't know if you caught it, but there is a mirror inside a mirror right there. And that makes absolutely no sense to me. So we're going to get rid of that. Right. Man, this look crooked as shit. So here's what we're going to do. Looks a little crooked, right? So we're going to run this right down here because I see your crookedness. I do. Now, most designers will probably tell you what this guy just did. Don't do it by hand. You can use a quick selection tool or an object selection tool. You can use the magic wand. There's 15 different ways for you to encircle and ensorcel something that you're working on and cut it, chop it, paste it, whatever you want to do. There's 15 different ways to do that. I like to do it by hand. It's just my particular process. You don't have to do it that way. But that's what usually works for me. Because that gives me control. I don't like some of the automatic brushes like the wand and the spot brush because when they go and around objects, they leave traces of crap everywhere. Like it's not accurate. It never has been. I doubt it ever will be. So we might as well just go along with the inaccuracy. So we can just do it. You know, we can do that. There we go. I'd just like to get this a little more centered in the fireplace here. It's pretty close there. It was a little crooked before. I think you could probably use one more. There we go. And we will patch this here. Why is it giving me white spots when I patch? Very ridiculous. Doing. I mean, I get that's a weird line, but what are you? I guess it's just showing that it's still there. I don't want to go through all that, so let's back that out, and we'll just copy and paste guy over instead, and that will save us a lot of whatever that just was. So we want to shift this just a smidge, so it's actually in the center of the fireplace, or center-ish. Center-ish is fine too. All right, and then we put a little mask on it because this area here needs to be cleared out. Most everything else should be fine, but this area here needs to be cleared out. See that particular frame. Yeah, we're going to blank out this area too. There you go. Not that we really need it anyplace else. There. On top here, just to blend it in. Little blending. Happy trees. Lots of happy trees. And now we're going to merge it. Because we need to clean up these breaks that are right in here. That's all we're doing, is cleaning up a little bit of the mess. And making sure it looks like wall when we're done. Brush it a little bit bigger. Content aware. Yeah, we just want to blend this back into the wall. So it's pretty nondescript. There we go. Blend all this, blend that, blend that. Whoa. There, let's fix this. So many things to fix. Here. All right. Now once you back out, that doesn't look so bad. It just looks shaded there. Check back in. Nothing. No. All right. Nobody wants to talk to me right now. That's okay. I understand. So, would like to get this a little more centered though. First off, let's get the moon out of the mirror. I don't know what's going on here, but that needs to go because that's just strange. that. Then we can a little coverage right there. Everybody's happy. Okay. Now, another question. What about where these candelabras are placed? Like, this is kind of wild, right? You got one placed just to the left of this mirror. The mirror's not centered. The candelabra's not. There's not two of them. It's just one. It looks like you have one on each side of the door there. Then the other side doesn't have them. Hmm. So then we're going to do, we are going to dump this particular candelabra. We go. Sneaking up on it. Sneaking up on it. Let's fix the wall. Why, I don't know, because we're about to move this friggin' mirror. Or pick this guy right there. We're going to be smart and pull a copy merge. Paste in place. Just kind of arrow this dude over a bit. 1, 2, while we're at it. See what we got. That's a bit better. Quite as stray. Alright, so fade in this. We will not be able to fade on the other side. A, it's too thin, and B, mirror is too close to it. Yes. Bottom we can do though. Right. Bit function. Okay. Merge these two layers together. Gonna do a little bit of itty bitty teensy weensy spot healing. Side here. Go. Clean. That is. Alright, let's get rid of the candelabra in here because you got rid of the candelabra, so it can't be in the mirror anymore. Let's remove that. Although I guess it could be a picture of the ones across the way there, which I still have not decided whether to keep yet. Right. And ooh, what is that? Dot, but I guess that looks all right. Let's zoom back out and make sure that doesn't look wonky. Need some streaks there, buddy boy. Something with some age. Here we go. That's got some age to it. And we're going to get rid of candelabras by the door. Not that I don't like them. I just don't think they're necessary. Map. I did a pretty good job cleaning that door up. This is that. Gotta do the cleaning. Get rid of whatever that is because that mirror is facing the camera. Alright. That up. Get rid of the partial candelabra here on the left. Sneaking up on it, folks. We are about 2.5 hours in. It is about 3:30 Eastern Standard Time here. And we've probably got another 30 minutes in us before we cut out for the day. Okay. Obviously, our scene is a bit off. I think it just needs to be stretched a bit like this. Right? I mean, it is a little off kilter, but that's okay. Not too bad, not too bad. Anything else we need to clean up in these mirrors? I don't want to have to deal with that later. Probably sure where bars are. They should be doors, but I think if we just get rid of these two lines, whatever those are, be less noticeable. I'm also fairly sure we're about to have flying furniture in this room, so you probably won't see it. That for right now. Here. One more thing. No, nothing. All right. Let's clean out here. Right now, I'm going to try to keep all of the mirrors blank. I can buy that this one's got a little bit of the fireplace in it. That's fair. But for the most part, we're going to keep these all empty. And if we need to edit them later, we will. I'm guessing that we're not going to need to. Instead, I'm just trying to get the room down and kind of set up. That goes here. Okay, clean up that. Edit whatever candle is in that here. Floor pretty much looks okay. This doorway I'm confused by. Let's see if it can fix that. Better. Wonder if we can get it with the door open. We're about to find out. Maybe. Maybe not. Nope, it looks like it's going for it closed, so we are going to... That's not the same door. Not the same door. All right. Gotta keep playing with that. I wonder we can just do this. Back in the day when you couldn't have AI generate you a new door, what you would have to do is you would have to go over here. You would grab this doorway as best you could, including the floor that walks up to it. Get it right in the middle of the door frame beam, because you're going to want part of that to stabilize yourself. And then you are going to copy that particular door, paste it in place, and then flip it. Now that door can be that door. You just have to measure it out, just like so. And we got to make it a little bit bigger to fit in this doorway space, and a little bit wider to fit in this doorway space. All right. Bring it down a little bit, just like yo. And now you have two identical doors to separate rooms. Bing, bang, boom. That is how the old school folks do it. So let's take a look and make sure that lines up okay. We don't have anything froggy going on there. Now we might want to we might just want to blend this door frame in a little bit. There's quite a bit of brown and orange here on the edge of the frame that doesn't need to be there. It doesn't look like it matches all the time, so there we go. All right. All right. That looks like the entryway right there. So we now have two open doors, one on the left, one on the right. I think my only concern at this point is I feel like the room should be bigger. It should be a much larger room. We have to put that back into Midjourney, have it zoom out quite a bit. See what it says. All right. Yeah, I think, well, let's do this. It's much bigger than it needs to be right now. It's in pretty good shape. We might want to make some smaller edits in a bit, but let's take it, duplicate that layer, turn the original one off, flip this bad boy over like So bring our mirror back, and then we are going to take a look at putting this in the mirror. You definitely want to get the floor. You definitely want to get distance. Yeah, be big enough. All I'm seeing is fireplace. Really gonna get. You might get furniture. Got that the right size. Let's go ahead and blend it and see what we see. Very dark. Yeah, so it would look a little more like. Oh. Lighter color. That's not good. If we put it on lighter color, let's duplicate the whole thing. Need that. That's not going to be on lighter color. We're going to double overlay this. So let's go ahead and do a little bit of fading. All this nonsense out here. That's unnecessary. Get rid of that. Get it back in the mirror. A lot of excess over here that's not necessary. Start editing that down and cleaning that up. Quite a bit of massaging we got to do here, but that's okay. That's why they pay us the no bucks. Now, that's why they pay us the big bucks, is to be able to do stuff like this and know where this is going to go and exactly how to get it there. For this, got all kinds of what looks like spectral stuff just floating around in the air. We want to make sure we keep the edging of the mirror for this to work. For you to assume that this is a portal or a walkway or some kind of entrance, a mirror perhaps, into another realm, we need to make sure that we are visually separating the realm that you are currently in to the realm that you may or may not be traversing to. So when they blend together, kind of defeats the point of that. All right, we're going to fade all of this. Get rid of this nonsense. Okay. Let's go back up here and clean this up. I know you're looking at this and you're going, that looks tedious as shit. That's because it is. That's why it looks that way. Sadly, there is no fast way around this. I mean, there kind of is. You know what? Now that I mention it, there kind of is a faster way around this. We could just do one of these. Way too far with it. I'm going to show you what, from my understanding, most graphic designers would do in this situation. Instead of going around the entire thing and manually, by sight, removing parts of it that we don't need, what they like to do, not everyone, just some, what they like to do is they like to put this quick selection brush around the area of the mirror that they intend on getting coverage for. And instead of copying or cutting or doing anything to the mirror itself, you're just using that as the shape. Then you throw this bad boy on here. We'll duplicate him one more time just to save him. You put this guy on here, and instead of deleting anything from your other layers, you are just cutting this out of there and making it its own layer. So when you turn everything back on, now you have it relatively cut to where you need it cut. We already said we're going to fade in this side because this tree is over here. Do a little bit of work here. Wow. And again, we're just testing this out right now. I just want to see, how this works in the space, what we're looking at vision-wise. Here we go. All right. That to be faded too. We want this to be darker over here. Will be lighter, but we will drop it down to half. We do that. You don't want to lose your edge. You got to keep your edge. That's the key. So this can still be pretty dark. You want to keep just a little bit of the see-through in there. You want to make sure that you can still see part of the flooring, even around the darkest edges, even through some of this. Don't want to. You don't want to be able to see it. Definitely want to take care of the branches that are in front. Make sure that those stay in front. Everything else is behind it. Otherwise, you will screw up the perspective of this. That loses you the whole point of doing it in the first place. Essentially, all the wood needs to be in front. As much as humanly possible. As much as machinely possible as well. In this case, it's humanly possible because the machine would not be doing this. Alright. Don't want that. Now see, the problem with that is you can't really tell what's going on there. You're gonna need the furniture in it to really be able to tell. Plus it's very dark. But it's not bad to get the idea of what it's gonna look like. And now what we do is we take this one up here. This is the full color one because this right now is on a blend. It's at 75%. It's just there to give us a bottom overlay. We're gonna take the top overlay here. And we're gonna fade it in. So we get all color that we're looking for. Take too long. Won't do the edging yet. I just want to go ahead and get big edge out of the way. Here we go. All that. All of this. Okay, let's keep going. We're going to go around here in the bottom. Don't worry, we'll come back with the 25% transparent brush. Come back with that in a moment. And clean this right up. Getting the big boy parts out of the way. Get that. Shaded that way. All right. No problem. We're going to keep on going, tearing this up. I'm not going to need this part over here. I know it looks tedious, guys, and it is, but what it takes. You got to put in the long hours. You got to be comfortable sitting here behind the desk and spending a lot of time here. It is no different than the hand illustrating. You are spending hours, days, weeks, months, years at this desk building graphics over and over again. Very similar process. Comes to that. All right, we're getting the edge of this here. That's good. That's making me feel better. Okay. Take all that out of the way because we're not going to need it. This either. Here. Can. I think this is the edge of pretty close. This we can see. Okay. Darkness over here. Let's clean that up. You got down here at the bottom. All of this can go away. Up a little bit. Yeah, lot of these you have to go back and do passes over edging, over areas you've already touched. You got to do the passes because you never pick up everything on the first run. It's always the bigger things that pay attention to, and some of the little things kind of slip through the cracks. All right, a lot of tree here that we can kind of bring out the big guns on. Go ahead and clean that up there. Yeah, that all looks this. This around the edge here because we have more tree that goes there. This is all going to be darker, so we're not super worried about making sure that that stays seen. This, that branch going. You gotta be very careful not to mess up the image behind this. Because once you fade it out, you can't get it back. Try to make doubly sure that when you're covering over stuff, you're covering over exactly what should not be seen, and you're leaving just enough space for what should be seen. Go. Need to shadow that up a bit. And we've got a little more in here, but we're going to go down to the 25% just to be safe. Starting to get into some hairy territory here and mess anything up too bad. This should be pretty dark. That should be dark. This one into that. Okay. Where's the rest of our branches? We got this guy over here. He's got a thing. His thing we see through. There. And you've got all this stuff. And we do want to fade up quite a few things. So because we have the underlay on there, we can kind of go through and just lighten up some of these parts of the tree you want to see. Little parts down here. And you're not really messing with the background because we've already got that covered. We covered it when we put the underlay on it. So it won't be perfect. You'll get some things that, don't cover exactly the way you want. But for the most part, you're going to be able to get some of these tinier branches and the things that you normally would not be able to utilize at all. You're going to get those on the on that top image simply because you have a underlying version of it beneath it. Great little trick. The other thing you have to remember is when you're doing this kind of fading and you're fading something into the background of something else, like this, the most important thing is the foreground. So getting the foreground stuff exact and having it clean and right where it's supposed to be, and more visibly clean than necessarily the stuff underneath. Doing that is for a reason, because you can get away with the stuff in this mirror being kind of hazy or misty, or it's not exactly clean or whatever. Like, you can get away with that, and there's a few tricks that can help you visually handle that as well if you need to. But what you can't do is you can't fix the flora and fauna when it's in the front if you went and screwed it up. Um, that won't go well for you. So we're going to darken this area here, get a little bit of that, all of this. So I want to maintain that edge. All right, let's take a run around and see where we're at. We can, for the most part, get rid of a lot of this. It's not necessary, and we do want to see this part of the tree. You need to be clean, buddy boy. Alright, I like that. I want that color. I want that color. This can be muted a bit here. I don't care about that. I think this can be too. We can mute that quite a bit. We need to put this plant in here because it disappeared. That in. This mirror in favor of plantery. Technically, they're both in there, so you're good. Sneaking up on it, folks. We are very, very close. Here. Yeah. A little bit on that. There we go. See, that's a little key that they don't tell you about in a lot of places, is when you're laying an object over, or laying an image over their object, and you're trying to portray the idea that that image is inside that object, you've got to make sure that you give it some of that object's characteristics or some of its styling. Otherwise, you're not going to see that. So I just took some of the, when you take these pieces off, you see this like mirror glaze right here. Not really a glaze, but it's kind of a this kind of shine across it, a little bit of shine down here, but this major shine across it. Well, you need to see that in the image. Now you see most of it here because that's overlaid, but this one is laid directly on top, so it needs to be, and it's not transparent, so you need to actually cut part of that out to be able to see it. Now again, this is just a tester. We still need to put the crazy furniture in there. But at least that is an upside down fireplace and an upside down floor. So for now, we are going to run with that. So far, this is starting to look like a cover. We do have a few more details to add to it. Maybe not make that fireplace head the largest part of the room, but we are getting there. It's definitely a lot closer than it was yesterday. So we are just past 4 o'clock. That's about 3 hours we've done today. I think we can pick this back up tomorrow and finish up module 5. So until then, this is the design work with Wonderland Nightmares and Dreamscapes, bidding you good afternoon.